Hi guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is our second ever video. In this one, I'm going to give you my 5 top tips on how you can become healthier, fitter, and lose weight. Just like our past client, Dibsy did. Dibsy was the viral weight loss sensation who lost 20 stone in a year, but I never really told the story how. So this story was followed by This Morning, Good Morning Britain. It was featured on the Wendy Williams show, Lad Bible. It was featured all over the place. We even done a documentary on Channel 5 called Eating Yourself to Death. But first, before I go any further, I just want to show you the clip from our very first time that we went on This Morning with Phil and Holly, where the nation ultimately met Dibsy and found out what our challenge was.
Well, to try and help him lose weight, Mike has been handing out these posters to local takeaways, banning them from serving Dibsy. So even in our studio, the cafe this morning refused to serve him breakfast. There you go. And you don't argue with Fleur. I mean, she's refused to serve us for no good reason. But has it worked? So Dibsy is here now, along with personal trainer Mike. So good morning.
Good morning, both.
Morning. Lovely to see you. And we'll explain all that in a moment, because there is nothing shaming about this. That's not what this has been designed to do. But we'll explain that in just a second. Have you always struggled with your weight?
Yeah, I've struggled with my weight most of my life. Since my teenage years, definitely. But I'd say over the last couple of years, it's spiraled like out of control.
So would you say that you eat, sort of comfort eat, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. If I get sad or something, feel emotional or something, I will comfort eat, and that's what I turn to. That's my bad habit.
Yeah,
And what weight are you? Well, I know you've lost a bit now. I want to come to that in a moment as well. But what weight were you?
I was 40 stone, bang on.
And what effect was that having on your life?
Massively. Just my breathing, day-to-day activities I couldn't do. I can't do any, think by myself, really.
Well, it's things like, if you were to go on a plane, you'd have to have 2 seats. You can't learn.
Wow, that's crazy seeing Dibsy like that. And I'm going to post the link to watch that full interview where we appeared on This Morning and the nation met Dibsy for the first time. So make sure you check that link below and click it, and come back here and leave a comment and let us know what you think of it. That was the very start. That was in 2018 when Dibsy was at 40 stone. Our first tip is to be honest with yourself and write down every single thing that you eat. When I first asked Dibsy what he was eating, he didn't tell me the truth. He tried to sugarcoat it. He tried to tell me he had a slice of toast for his breakfast and a jack of potato for his dinner and a salad on a night. That wasn't the truth. Them foods didn't get Dibsy to 40 stone. Them foods didn't almost make Dibsy say goodbye to his family. So what we had to do is we had to get Dibsy and his mum to write every single thing that he ate down. And it turned out that Dibsy was eating nearly 10,000 calories a day. Now that's huge. That's a huge amount of food. And once he'd written it down and he seen what he was eating, he admitted what he was eating, he realised he was being greedy. He was eating too much. This is how we got in this downward spiral of gaining weight. If Dibsy had ate 4,800 calories at 40 stone, he would have maintained that weight. He was eating 10,000, so you can tell what that's going to do. He was eating too many calories than what he needed to maintain his weight, so he was ultimately going to gain weight, and that was only going to make him bigger and bigger and bigger. So the first and the most important tip that you can do first, and it's dead easy to do, get a notepad and pen, write down every single thing that you eat. Keep a food diary. Don't change anything. Don't try and be good. Just be honest. Be honest with yourself and write every single thing down. And that is just what 10,000 calories looks like. And remember, calories don't just come from foods. They come from pop, they come from juice, they come from a lot of things, sauces, things we take for granted. They all contain calories, so write everything down. So this leads me to tip number 2. This is to become accountable. Firstly, you have to become accountable to yourself. And once you follow tip number 1, you'll start to become accountable because you're writing it down and you're admitting what you're eating. But then we need to set some short-term and some long-term goals. And that's, again, I'll revert back to Dibsy. That's what we did with him. The first thing we did with Dibsy is try to get him moving. Dibsy couldn't walk 5 steps. He'd walk 5 steps and he'd be out of breath. He'd have to sit down. Dibsy couldn't sleep laying down flat. He had to sleep laying up on a chair. His mum used to have to check on him probably 5, 6, 7 times a night just to check that he was still alive. So once you become accountable and set some short-term goals, you'll start to achieve them. And once you start to achieve them, you'll get a sense of pride and you'll want more, and that'll become an addiction to try and continuously improve and better them results. What we did with Dibsy is we tried to get him to walk 5 steps, then we tried to get him to walk 10, and then ultimately day by day we walked a little bit further. By the end of the 3 month, Dibsy had climbed Rosebery Topping. For those of you who aren't from Teesside, just Google Rosebery Topping in Teesside. It's our local landmark, and Dibsy tried that before many years ago and only got halfway up. But this time, he got to the top, and the photos, the views, the experience was absolutely unbelievable. And there was people there cheering him on, and he met people along the way. And that for Dibsy was a milestone. He realised he'd achieved something that he never thought was possible. So early on in the weight loss journey, what that did is that made him understand that life was going to get better. So tip number 2 is to become accountable. That takes me to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is huge. Well, it was for Dibsy anyway. It was to cut out on junk food, cut out on sweet treats, fizzy pops, and try and choose some healthy alternatives. There's a lot of healthy alternatives out there, but there's a lot of misleading packaging. So be careful when you go shopping, and be careful what you buy. Just because it says low fat doesn't mean to say it's low calories. Just because it says it's low sugar doesn't mean to say it's low calories. So make sure that you check and read the back of all the packs. Sometimes you can read a pack and it can say it contains 150 calories and you think that's absolutely fine, but that might be per biscuit or per portion. And if you're going to eat the full pack, that might contain 7, 8, up to maybe 1,000 calories, and you've only allowed for 150. So be careful when you are out shopping and make sure that you read the packages and you double check everything. But try and cut down and limit your takeaways. Try and leave your takeaways to once a weekend. Try and have it as a family treat, and try not to be too greedy. If you want a pizza, order a pizza to share. Don't order a pizza each. Don't try and order a portion of chips each. Try and share it out. Not only you will benefit from this, but the full family. So definitely try and cut down on junk food, and don't make me do what I did to Dibsy when I had to ban him from the takeaways. So cut out junk food, limit your takeaways, choose healthy alternatives, and read the packages properly. So tip number 4 is huge, and most diet plans some way or somewhere result in you tracking or reducing your calorie intake. So my tip number 4 is to track your calories both in and out. A great way to do this, or a great way to get started, is to use what we call a total daily energy expenditure calculator, which will help you find out how many calories a day you need, and then ultimately how many calories a day you can eat to be in a deficit, because that's the confusing part. I want to give you the tools so you can go on and you can become healthier and fitter and lose body fat, just like Dibsy and a lot of my past clients, like Leanne, who lost 15 stone. She was the transformation before Dibsy, and there was many more before that. So track your calories in and out. I'm going to post a link in the description below of the total daily energy expenditure calculator. And it's a big word, I get it, but it's really, really simple. Once you start filling in, it'll ask you a few questions, answer them, and it'll give you some numbers. Once you've got them numbers, that's a great way to get started on your new journey. Now, that is a guideline, and that will alter as you lose weight. So don't think that this number is forever, because it's not. The lighter you are, the less calories you'll need. So make sure that you check back on this as you are losing weight, just to make sure that you can eat less calories. It may mean that you need to up your calories if you are in fact exercising more. So make sure you keep checking back as a guideline to see how many calories you need. But tracking your calories is absolutely huge in any weight loss journey, both in and out. And a great way for you to track how many calories you're eating, again, is MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is a great tool which is free on your iPhone or on your Android or even online. I'll post the link in the description below for MyFitnessPal, so you can head over their website and you can get started tracking how many calories you are intaking. And remember, make sure you put everything that you've written down in point number 1 into that calculator, which will tell you how many calories you're eating. This leads me to my final tip, tip number 5, and it's something that we always hear: move more. It's true, we do need to move more, we need to exercise. Moving more is massively important. And we've all seen the studies saying that we should be doing 10,000 steps a day. To some people, 10,000 steps is a lot. For Dibsy, he couldn't do 10 steps, let alone 10,000. So we need to build that up. So what we did with him is we had him walking to a lamppost. So from the gym where we started to train to a lamppost. We'd done that for a couple of days, then we'd go to the following lamppost, and then we'd go to the following lamppost until we got a full circuit of the industrial estate. And then what we did is we tried to walk there a little bit faster. So it was just progressively increasing the distance he walked and the speed that he walked at. What that did then is that made day-to-day life a lot easier for Dibsy. And that can do that for you. So if you can't do your 10,000 steps a day, don't be disheartened, because you will be able to. You just need to build up to it. And another great way to try and become a little bit more active, if you're not a member of the gym, is to use the things around the house. Use the sofa or a chair in the kitchen and sit down and stand up. And it's replicating a squat. It's using a lot of your leg muscles and your glutes. That's a great way just to get used to standing up and sitting down. And it's something that we do in day-to-day life, sitting down and standing up. So the easier we can make it, the easier our day-to-day life is going to be. So practice things like just sitting on the chair and standing up. If you can do it 3 times, that's great. Try and go for 5 times the next time, and then maybe 6 times until you can do 10. And once you can do that, grab a tin of beans out of the cupboard and hold on to the tin of beans and sit down and stand up. What you've done then is you've made yourself a little bit heavier and almost replicated a weight. That's a great way just to get used to it. Another great way is to use the stairs. If you don't live in a bungalow and you live in a house or a flat, then try and climb up 3 or 4 steps and slowly come back down again. Then try and go up 5 or 6 steps, then come back down again until you get to the top. And once you get to the top, repeat the process. And that's a great way to get our cardiovascular system working. So if we are going for our 10,000 steps, remember 10,000 steps is roughly about 5 miles, and that's quite far. Most people would burn 3, 4, even up to 500 calories if you were to do your 10,000 steps a day. But remember, there's different things what you've got to take into account. So that's a gradient. If you're walking uphill and you're doing 10,000 steps, that's going to burn more calories. If you're going up steps, that's going to burn more calories. So don't always take the easy route. Try and incorporate some different sort of paths. If you can walk up some stairs while you're doing your 10,000 steps, that's great. If you can walk on an incline, if you can choose a different route so you don't get used to doing the same thing, so you can incorporate some going uphill, some going downhill. And that's a great way as well. And to finish this off, I just want to show you the clip from the second time that we're on this morning. And you can tell by Holly's voice just what a difference Dibsy looks. And by this point, Dibsy had dropped by 8 stone 3 pound. That's 52 kilos or 114 pounds that he dropped in 13 weeks. And remember, that was by following the 5 tips that I've just shared with you. And hopefully you can do that too.
We met Darren McClintock, otherwise known as Dibsy, who weighed a life-threatening 40 stone. That was before his new trainer, Mike Hind, took drastic and slightly unusual action by putting up posters like that, stopping takeaways from serving him. We should stress that these were never, the customers never saw these, were never facing out, they were facing in to the staff. So if they saw Dibsy, they weren't to serve him.
I was eating just all bad stuff, fries, chips, crisps, pop, anything really.
These posters do seem quite harsh. And you went into, because I asked him what he liked takeaways, and so went into all the takeaways that he went into, and showed him that, gave him that to put up.
This is my time now, I've got no doubt about it. This time it is going to work for me, and I'm going to, if they do have hard days, I'm going to make sure I get through.
Well, it's now almost 3 months since that interview, and Mike has continued to work with Dibsy to help save his life. And Mike's here with us now. So I have to ask you, first of all, why him? Why did you choose him to work with?
He made the choice himself to come into my meal prep company for his meals.
Yeah.
When I spotted him, it was clear he needed help. He needed help, yeah.
And you've been working hard, the pair of you.
Yeah, Dibsy trains twice a day now. Comes in the morning around about 8:30, then back again about 6 o'clock. And we've cut almost 1 million calories from Dibsy's diet over 13 weeks.
Oh my goodness me.
Let's bring him in. Let's chat to the man himself. Here he comes. That's what he was like before. Here he is now. In you come, Dibsy.
Oh, Dibsy, well done you.
I mean, you're walking so much better.
I know, it's true. You've got so much more movement.
What weight have you lost?
I've currently lost 8 stone 3 pounds.
8 stone 3 pounds in that amount of time.
Incredible. It's a lot of weight to lose, and that in itself obviously is going to have huge benefits to your health. But your mindset has changed also.
Yeah, I get up in the morning now and I just think positive constantly. Every day, if there's a bad day, I just think of the positive outcome for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that it's all well and good for you, because you are an expensive trainer, but you do these almost like a scholarship, for a year. Take someone under your wing for a year, and you saw Dibsy and it was his turn. But they've got to want to do it. They've got to be willing.
Massively.
I think you'll agree that is a massive difference. 8 stone 3 pounds. That's a human. Dibsy's lost a human in 13 weeks, which is huge. And what you've got to remember is you can do this. You can change the way you are. You can change your habits. You can improve your quality of life. You've just got to want to do it. Dibsy wanted to do it, but it took him a long time to get to the stage before he come and we followed them 5 tips. And that's it. That's my 5 top tips. And that was from week 1 to week 13, or month 1 to month 3. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I hope he's inspired you. I hope the results have given you a little bit of hope and made you realise that you can do it. Dibsy inspired millions of people. The first video that we shared with you from this morning, that got 2 million views. That's 2 million people who'd seen the story from around the world who were hopefully taking inspiration from it. And I hope you can too. And I hope that you become someone else's inspiration. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for supporting the channel. It's people like you who give people like me a purpose in life, and I hope that the 5 top tips that I give you today and that I continue to give you in future videos will hopefully give you a better quality of life. So from me, all my team and all my clients, we'd just like to say thank you for the support that you show us. Thank you for following us across social media, Facebook, Instagram, and now on YouTube. And hopefully we can get this message out far and wide to let people know that these results are real life, they are possible, and you can achieve them too. Take care, guys.